Oh, hey, James. Good morning.
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you all warm enough?
My
Yeah?
head kept falling off.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it.
My head kept falling off.
And it is 44 degrees Fahrenheit outside at the moment. But we all slept fine, and so I'm happy about that. Ow! There's a bacon popped at me. How's it going, girls? We have finished eating our breakfast, so we're loading up into the car, and we're going to head to our next cave tour.
What's this cave called?
It's called Domes and Dripstones. Are you excited, Clara? All right, let's get in the car and go. We are at the ferry waiting to get across, and I just noticed up there, you can see on the top left, that they have a Starlink dish on the ferry. And I assume there's a person in there, and it's nice for them to be able to have access to the internet while they are ferrying people all day. So we're next in line. We're going to be with our friends there on the next ferry, since this only holds 2 cars each time, and you can see there's a whole line of people behind us. And we are back at the visitor center, and we're going to join up with our group doing the next cave tour.
Any other health concerns? Weapons, tobacco products of any kind, or food or drink other than water, not allowed on our tour today. All right, and you can pick one of these buses to go to, show them your ticket, get loaded up.
You excited over here?
Yeah.
Yeah? You excited, everybody?
I definitely have a
All right, let's do this.
You
got your hand in when you're done with
We have 3 buses worth of people here.
Put that hand on the adult who forced you to be here today. Me. Me. Alrighty. That is as far as you need to be from your adult today. Adults. That is as far as they need to be from you today. Okay? Make sure we're staying together. Once we start going down all of these different shafts, I want you to think to yourself, who was the first person to do this? This is not a natural entrance. This entrance was actually blown out of the cave. Now, once we get through the concrete and you start seeing rock, that's natural cave. But this entrance was not there prior to 1921. So everywhere that we're about to walk down a whole bunch of stairs, and what we're gonna do in about 15 minutes, I'm gonna tell you who the first person was to do that and how long it took them to do that when we get to our first stop. Are you all ready to go see? Yeah. Follow me.
Here's the entrance. So this is all man-made materials here in this section. Here we are. Now we're in the natural cave.
Are you okay? You're not like claustrophobic, right?
This is a lot of stairs. This is as narrow as my shoulders are wide, exactly right there. So they just barely etched out enough rock for a normal human to be able to pass through this section. This is really cool. And I'm getting dripped on still. This is a narrow spot. This is a squeezer.
Oh, that's actually very scary. Okay.
It was a real wet cave yesterday.
This is interesting. It's still man-made stairs. They're metal grate, stainless steel looking stairs, but the walls are all natural. Look at this view. So the name of this cave, Jess, is called Domes and Dripstones. So, yes, so the dripping part makes sense now.
I'll never do this alone, no.
This cave seems more dripping.
Okay, yeah, I agree. It's definitely consistently dripping randomly all over the place. There's a good drop off there. This is a lot of stairs. I wonder what it's going to be like coming back out. Are you loving this, James? Or is he asleep?
No, you barely It got interesting just before he was about to fall.
I hear a lot of water sounds. Is this cool? It's less drippy, Lydia says. It is that. So in case you can't tell because of the kids being short, this is now short enough, or I guess it was, that I had to bend over.
I was expecting to walk on dirt.
Well, we're about to sit down, I think. There we go. Now we can see.
If you keep your eye out, you can see fossils everywhere. Yeah, we found about around a dozen different species of sharks in the cave. A couple of those were brand new to science altogether, have never even been seen before. This is a 3D printed version of a shark tooth that they found in the cave.
Oh, okay, cool. You guys hear that? They found a shark tooth in this cave. What do you think a shark
They
got
saw
in
it
here?
poking out of the wall. Yeah.
Wow.
How far deep are we underground?
That's right. What did she say?
I forgot.
250 feet. We came down a lot of stairs, huh? Yeah.
Welcome into the Mammoth Cave. The room that we are in right now is called Grand Central Station. There's a couple reasons for this. One of them is that there are actually 6 different ways to get in and out of this room. And then down here is a passageway. So there's lots of different ins and outs of this cave that kind of line in between each other. So really quickly, we're going to go over our Geology 101 of Mammoth Cave. Because without knowing about the geology, everything that we are going to see is a lot less impressive. Mammoth Cave is completely made out of limestone rock. All of the rock that you see around you is limestone. Limestone is made out of fish.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's made out of the squishy cartilage and bones of fish that used to swim around in a sea that was once here. It's made out of horn corals and brachiopods and all these crazy things that used to once be in an ocean. We inhale oxygen and we blow out carbon dioxide. So the rain's grabbing all that stuff that we're blowing out of our lungs until it makes itself really bubbly. Puts all of these bubbles inside of itself. And that bubble turns it into acid. So now we have carbonic acid. That acid finds its way through all of the cracks and all of the sinkholes above us until it finds this rock. And it took Earl 2 weeks to go down what we just did with rope. And I'll tell you more about Earl at our next stop. Once again, if you need that slower pace, come to the front and join me, and we'll keep moving.
Lydia, the steps have changed. It's now rock. Oh wow, this is cool.
So anytime that we're in an area where you see a really flat ceiling, it's natural. That's just the top layer of limestone that didn't fall when this room was being created. The water that carved Mammoth Cave didn't do it by coming down into the cave because we've got that protective roof above us. It cut through the cave. Mammoth Cave is pretty much shoved inside of the hill. It actually began with a guy named George. George Morrison was from up north, and he thought that if he came down to Kentucky, he would start drilling for oil. He was thinking he's going to get some oil in hand, he's going to make a lot of money. So he comes down here to Kentucky, and in south central Kentucky, George drills 16 times and comes up dry every single time. Hour after hour after hour, George begins to think, ain't no way that this cave is only underneath Mammoth Cave Estate's property line. So this gives him another business idea. He starts going around the area asking people if they have cave openings. And then finally he hears of this woman who said that her kids had found the best spot to play outside during the summer. Because somewhere in this sinkhole, in between all of these rocks, cool air comes out of it. So George approaches her, he works out a deal, money's exchanged, and he takes his favorite caving tool, dynamite, and puts 20 sticks in the side of the hill. Big boom goes off, and that was the entrance that we walked into today. In 1921, George opens up that hole to Mammoth Cave. Now, obviously, he's not exactly sure what he's got on his hands. He sees that there's a hole, he sees that there's cave down there, but he has no idea what's beyond it. So this is kind of where the bravery of George steps into play. He takes a big rope and he ties it around a tree. And then he ties it to Earl. Earl was his nephew, who had just come back from the Great War. He's looking for some adventure. So Earl, with this rope around him, starts descending down all these passageways and comes back up. George says, "What you find for me?" He says, "Uncle George, I ran on a rope." Over the course of 2 weeks, going and buying more rope, they finally make it to that first room that we stopped in. Remember how I said there's a bunch of different ways to get in and out of that room?
Yeah.
From where I was standing, there was a passageway off to my right. George kind of started laughing to himself. And Earl's thinking, what is the matter with you? And George's like, nothing, let's keep going. They keep walking. And Earl gets a little mad. And George is like, boy, what's your problem? And he goes, well, I thought we were the first people here, but we're not. He says, what do you mean? There's a name on the wall. Earl thought that he had discovered something brand new. But George said, look a little closer. Whose name is that? And upon further investigation, Earl realizes that they have found the name of a Mammoth Cave guide. Furthering up just a little ways, they end up hearing voices and see a light. George tells Earl to be quiet. They hide from it. George turns him around and runs him back out. And Earl says, Uncle George, what is going on? And he says, do you have any idea what we've just done? And Earl says, no. And he says, we have created a new entrance to Mammoth Cave. So they get a big billboard and put it right on the side of Cave City Road. So when you're on your way to go take a tour of the Mammoth Cave Estates, you pass this big old sign that says, come see the new entrance of Mammoth Cave. Turn here now. So you turn there. You pass by a big, beautiful hotel. You make your way to an area where they say, welcome to the new entrance. And you go on this tour instead. Mammoth Cave gets ticked. You're stealing our visitors and you're using our name. You can't do that. George says, watch me. They said, fine, we're taking you to court. So they draw up this crazy lawsuit because George has been using their name and luring their visitors away from them. Now, here's kind of where I want to give you a little bit of a glimpse into the past. All right? So everyone bear with me for a second. Make sure you're next to someone you love or someone you want to get to know.
Yeah, I remember this. Here, showed it to us.
Folks, let's pretend for a moment that you have come to the Mammoth Cave Estates and gone into the big historic entrance down behind the visitor center. You've walked for about 8 hours, and you've taken a boat across 2 rivers. And you're standing in a room where your guide is talking to you and telling you stories and all of a sudden you hear some boots. And a second light. And a guy walks up behind your guy and says, "Hey, excuse me, folks." And your guy turns around, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Yeah, sorry, just bear with me. Ladies and gentlemen that have come to the Mammoth Cave, today I would like to welcome you to a brand new tour. At no extra cost to you. Don't follow him back out. When you follow him back out, you're going to see the same stuff you've already seen. If you follow me, I will take you to the new side of Mammoth Cave. I'll show you things beyond your wildest dreams. I will show you formations as big as the Niagara Falls itself, frozen in time. Stalactites and stalagmites bigger than 10 men. No extra cost. All you have to do for me is sign a piece of paper when we get out of the cave. Would you like to follow me today, folks? Yeah! I'd hate to be that Mammoth Cave guy. Come out of the cave about 10 hours later with nobody with you. But those folks followed George's guide. They made their way out of the cave and signed an affidavit. And George won the lawsuit. Now what we're going to do today is continue to go see George's cave. When we walk up this way, we're going to be making our way through a whole bunch of different areas that you on George's tour would have seen. You would have come up from that direction in that first room we stopped in, and you would have walked on this trail. Folks, this trail that you walked on to get to your seat is an original George Morrison trail that we found from the 1920s, buried under concrete last year. None of us had ever seen this before. This trail you've been walking on today is brand new. And when they were doing the reconstruction of this room, they called my bosses down here and said, "Do you guys have any idea where these rocks are here for?" And they said, "Sure do. Old George put these rocks here himself." So, walking on a historic artifact, we're going to be following the footsteps of history through George's cave. Follow me. It took us a little over a decade to find somebody who would be willing to do that project.
Wow. Is it all stainless steel?
It is.
Yeah, okay. Wow, this is cool.
In 1922, he starts doing cave tours. In 1923, he finds the frozen Niagara and blasts another entrance right next to that. That's the entrance that we're going to be leaving through today. Now, as he's done all of this, George is not the only competitor of Mammoth Cave in the area. There's about a dozen other show caves that are competing for your tourist dollar and to keep you away from Mammoth Cave. They're breaking into each other's caves. They're smashing up each other's formations. They're spray painting the caves green. They're lying to you about the ethical decisions of other caves. And they are hiring men to dress up as police officers and stand by the side of the road to pull you over and say, "Oh, you can't go to Mammoth Cave today. It collapsed. Go to this cave instead." So they were doing all of these awful things to each other just to keep you away from Mammoth Cave and get you to theirs instead. Now, there was a guy who was involved in all of this, and his name was Floyd Collins. Now, Floyd Collins had his own cave, but it was pretty far away from the main road. Everyone was going to these other caves before they ever got to where he lived. So in an attempt to find a cave closer to the main road, he starts exploring a cave called Sand Cave. In the process of him doing so, he gets trapped and dies. Floyd Collins is the third largest news story in between the two world wars. Our president and Congress knew him by name. This was an awful thing that happened, and everyone knew about it. So people in Kentucky start thinking, hey, these caves should be more protected than they are. And so they talked to Congress about it. And they said, we would kind of like this to be a national park. Congress had already been looking for national parks to put on the East Coast. Shenandoah Valley was a good idea. Great Smoky Mountains was a good idea. And Mammoth Cave was a great idea. And they said, we would love to make this happen. But Kentucky, it's going to be up to you to do that. We can't just take the land. You need to buy it first. So in 1926, the Mammoth Cave National Park Association has been formed. So right after George has won this incredible lawsuit with Mammoth Cave, they start knocking on his door. George, we want to make this a national park. How much will you sell your section of the cave to us for? And he said, no less than $1 million. And they said, right, cool. We'll talk to you later. And they start trying to buy up the other properties. There was about 600 families that once lived here. And they had to buy all of that property. Then as the 1920s began progressing into the 1930s, the Great Depression has had a chokehold on this area. Once again, they approach George. And he settles for about $300,000. Now, I can't imagine how disappointed he must have been. Just 10 years after his first discovery, he has now sold it. Looking for the next big thing that would never really come, George probably thinks he made the worst choice of his life by turning this over to the national park. But folks, did I or did I not refer to this section as George's Cave? George immortalized a piece of himself in history by giving this to the Park Service. Now we're about to go see his crown jewel. The piece that made you want to come on one of George's tours is just up ahead. We're about to leave this nice roof of sandstone above us, and we're about to be standing in that gutter system. There's going to be a really big fall called Shower Bath Springs, and then all of these beautiful formations are just going to pop out of thin air. When we come up those stairs, we're going to walk straight out of the cave. In doing so, we're going to walk by more incredible formations, rimstone dams, and we're going to walk over Crystal Lake, where George had his boat tour.
Lucy, do you hear water?
How would you like to take a shower in this water? No. It's pretty cold.
That's so cool.
It is.
The cave that I've seen.
It's so cool, huh? What do you think, Lydia?
Of chocolate ice cream. Oh, and look, this chocolate milk dripping from the ceiling. Look at all these.
He escaped from the cage.
He escaped from the cage of snow. That's what oh, look. The Twin Towers.
Oh, but do you remember what she said those were called? Columns.
That's crazy.
Whoa. It's a pool of water down there.
Look up. Oh my God.
Did you say you used to do a boat tour down there? How would you guys like to ride a boat? Are those original wooden fences?
Yeah.
You see the fences down there? Those were built by the first people who explored down here. And then you take them on a boat ride on that lake.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Those right there are my favorite formations.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's called a rimstone dam.
Mm-hmm.
It's where when the water splashes, it pushes the rock up around
Oh,
it and
right.
makes its own little pool.
That's cool.
Does anybody go down by that lake anymore? Just sometimes or not even?
No. It's to get down. I've seen how to get down there. And it's not not the most reliable
Gotcha.
things to get down there.
Look at there. It goes all the way to the top.
Yeah. It's really high.
It's getting dark. Oh, there we go. Now we can see.
You guys want to see some weird bugs?
Yeah. We love weird bugs. Ho ho ho.
Wait, what all those?
Weird bugs.
Cave crickets.
There's so many cave crickets.
No.
Oh, I didn't.
It's an infestation.
Do you want to get one as a pet?
No.
Clara, you could put one of these in your little cage.
They look like daddy long legs. Gosh, so many cave
What do you think, Lucy?
I think they look like daddy long legs.
Yes, I would agree.
No, the bats eat moths and mosquitoes pretty much. They just go outside to eat.
Oh gosh, darn it. There's a big one.
Oh my gosh, there's one over here. I think I see daylight to the outside.
Oh, yeah. The color temperature is blue instead of orange.
It's crazy to think people were just blowing holes
Yeah.
to make their own entrances.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed the whole tour, bud.
James, you missed everything. It was so cool.
Girls, how did you like the tour?
Amazing.
Was it worth doing?
Yes.
Great.
Not. I don't know.
They have soap and water here to wash the germs, algae off so the bats don't get sick.
What they think the cave looks like on the inside.
So it's a 3D map of the cave, or at least part of it? That's pretty cool.
Those used to be some guides for the cave. Oh, look at that. Looks like a crawdad in the cave, so it has no color in it. Did you see that? See a cave cricket?
There are caves throughout North America.
The river didn't want to go, so it went through the mountains over to there. There we go look for its cave moving.
Hi. What is this, Lucy? Yeah, this is about the saltpeter production that they were talking about when we were down there in the cave yesterday. Remember, those are hollowed out tree trunks for passing water in and out of the cave. The timeline of this cave, the history of all the things that have happened throughout his life is pretty significant. What do you think, Lucy? Pretty cool? All right, let's look up at this up close and go across this whole thing. Hopefully it's visible. And just pause it when you get to a new section that you want to read.
Area of the United States. Like Niagara Falls, people are
And that's the
fascinated by
end.
caves.
The life in the cave is most concentrated in the streams. So it's not about wilderness here, it's a whole other world of hundreds of miles of passage.
We are back from our Mammoth Cave tours for the day. So we're just back at the campsite relaxing and exploring the woods and having fun. And one of the things that I have on this trip for our camping that we're doing is some lights that are just for lighting the ambient area. So these are the lights right here, and these were sent to me by Cinoton right here. And you can see some of the details along here, and they're waterproof, so you can just put them in your garden or whatever and just have them be on automatically as the sun sets and it gets dark outside. I especially like that down here they're LED lights, so they're very efficient. And this is the power switch on the back, and that's how bright it looks, but obviously it's daylight so you can't really see much. And then this is what the solar panel looks like. And so this just pops there on the top. And then this has that 180-degree articulating hinge on it. So this I thought would be a fun thing to try out when you're camping. Stick it in the ground and it charges during the day, and then automatically when the sun sets, it just comes on and illuminates the general area. So if not everyone has a light, they can not trip on things. So anyway, let's wait till dark and we'll see how bright this is.
Oh, careful, James.
So this light just barely turned on, and that one over there is not yet on. So this is the general ambient light conditions when it gets dim enough to about start turning on. It's now a little while later, and you can see the sky is still a little bit bright, so we're in the dusk stage. And that light is on. So you can see there kind of how well it's illuminating. Hey, what are you kids cooking? S'mores. They're cooking marshmallows, that's right. They're making s'mores though. How's your s'more? Perfect? Are you tired?
You look like you just hit a wall.